Hey, y'all, listen. What is it? Friday. Happy Friday, y'all. Welcome into the building. It's Friday. It's trending topics. Hold on. Let me turn on my light. I'm sorry, y'all. Let there be light. Let there be light. Ooh, it's kind of bright. Let me turn it a little bit. Let me turn a little bit that way. Okay. Let there be light. Let there be light. Happy Friday, y'all. Listen, I had to take a break last night, but I'm here. I'm in the building. I'm back. Okay. And tomorrow night, not that y'all care, want to know my business, but tomorrow, actually not in the night, during the day, I'm going to see a play. If you are in like the New York, Philly, Jersey area, in New York, Alicia Keys has a play out called Hell's Kitchen. I'm actually going to see it tomorrow. I will let y'all know. I'm not promising tomorrow night, but probably on Sunday. I'll let you know how it was. But from everybody that has been, I heard it is phenomenal. So I'll get to experience it myself tomorrow live in person. So the Diva will be there tomorrow. Okay, so I had to, do some things last night. I had to do some things today, but I'm here. I'm in the building. We got stuff to talk about, okay? So I put this title tonight called Can You Imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine you're a pediatrician? You went to undergrad for 4 years. You did you went to school to become a doctor. You did your whole residency program. And then you became a pediatrician, all to lose it all because you a whole fool on the social media streets. The floods out there in Texas were devastating. Devastating. A lot of people lost their lives. The last I checked, I think the number was up to 100. If y'all know the exact number, somebody put in the chat for me and let me know. But I think at this point, it might exceed 100. Hold on, people. I need to turn this down some of this light. Okay, the light is just shining in my eyes. I couldn't take it. So, a lot of people lost their lives. Very devastating. And she wrote something extremely insensitive on social media. She said the people, that are experiencing those floods are probably all Trump supporters. The people have got to stop the nonsense. See, I am one where I can move forward easily and quickly. I don't like to hold on to stuff. Okay, I can move forward, move past it, and move on. He's the president. The people have voted. We're stuck with him for 4 years. It is what it is. But just like they was being ridiculous that everything that happened when Obama was in office, they blamed it on Obama. The same thing with Trump. It is just ridiculous and stupid for everything that happened. You're like, oh, it's because of Trump. It's ridiculous. But we're going to talk about it because she got fired. She tried to walk it back and apologize, but she a day late and $1 short because they're not trying to hear it. Then we have this woman. She was at Coney Island trying to celebrate the 4th of July and the fireworks. And then she gets violated on Coney Island Beach. You would think the people was helping her. That's why I wrote, Can You Imagine? You would think the people tried to help her. They were filming it. She ran away. The man caught up with her again, and he argued her. Nobody helped her. Can you imagine? What kind of sick world are we in when you rather take your phone out and film some crime happening versus making a phone call? And you always think back to the young lady who filmed the George Floyd tragedy. Well, why call the cops when the cops were the one doing it? But in that case, she filmed it, and God bless her, because I think it would have never been any type of justice if she didn't. But in this particular case, somebody's being violated on the beach, and you filming it versus making a phone call to the cops. Well, you want to know the worst? The patrol drove by her. They looked and they kept going. All I can say is, can you imagine? Then we're going to talk Armon Wiggins. He spoke out. You know, there's a saying that says, too much is given, much is required. So Armon Wiggins, he was what I'm going to call it boots on the ground. And I ain't mad at nobody. But there were a lot of YouTubers who had boots on the ground out there first for the Diddy trial. And give it up to them. I ain't mad at them. Now, you know, usually I don't do a whole lot of talking about other YouTubers on my channel. It's just not what I do. It's like an unspoken rule in YouTube. You don't come in somebody else's chat mentioning the Diva. And you don't really, you know, get on somebody's chat think about, oh, go look at this one, go look at that one, whatever the case may be. It's just an unspoken rule. And I respect the unspoken rule. And I usually don't do a whole lot when it comes to the other YouTubers, but I will say this. Armon Wiggins himself spoke out to TMZ and said that viral moment when the verdict came out and he did this stint with more oil. He explained why he did it. And I get his explanation. But what we have to understand is when you get to certain levels, if you want to move in a certain direction, you know that song, They Ain't Like Us? Well, we're not like them. You can't do certain things because you would be looked upon differently. But I'm one, he gave his explanation. I accept his apology, but I'm not the one that's going to be out there to give him opportunities. And all I can say to everybody is watch how you move. If you get nothing from the Diva, the best advice I could ever give you is watch what you do on those cell phones. Watch what you do on your social media. Don't let nobody tape you. Don't tape nobody. Don't be sending them pictures of you with no clothes on. Watch what you do. Because there's this other young lady, I was going to do that story, I think, last night, but then I changed it up a little bit for today. Maybe we could address it tomorrow. She was on the show Love Island, and my son, it's on Netflix. My son is obsessed with that show. He comes, he tells me about it. He's asking me to watch it. I'm like, I don't got time for these 99 episodes. But one of the ladies on there, she was kicked off because of a racial slur she did years ago. She came back and she apologized. But you know, this is the day and age where what you do can come back to haunt you. You know, when I was growing up, it wasn't all this social media like that. So maybe somebody that knew me, they was like, oh, Diva, back in the day, she did X, Y, Z. And you could come to me now and be like, what are you talking about? I didn't do that. Their memory is off. It wasn't me. But now, when the people tell a story, they not only can tell a story, they got video, they got the social media, they got a clip. Y'all have got to calm down and watch what you put on film. but we're going to talk about it. But it's Friday night, people, in this trending topic, so we got stuff to talk about. The title is real simple. It's called, Can You Imagine? Y'all know what I need in the chat, because I'm going to bring the people on in the building. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Friday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title's called, Can You Imagine? We got the Houston Pediatrician, okay? Fired. And rightfully so. We got the New York woman violated on the beach and nobody helped her. And we got Armon Wiggins. He speaks out saying, you know what, I apologize, but it wasn't what y'all thought it was. All right, people, let me bring the people on in the building. Listen, if y'all out there, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber and you coming to see me every night, can you just go ahead and subscribe? My goal for the month of July is to hit 50K. I want to be at 100K by December 2025. And next year, as soon as I hit 100K this year, I'm going to have, and I have one venue in mind so far, I'm going to have a Diva meet and greet. Yeah, we're going to talk. All right, go ahead. Let me bring the people in the building. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Diva. Hey, panel. Hey, chat.
Hey, Felicia. All right, people. I think I'm going to start, excuse me, with this Houston Pediatrician. Now, my little StreamYard is different. Let me make sure. Child, they always trying to upgrade something. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone. I hope. Oh, so I hear. Oh, wait. All right, I don't know. Hold on, y'all. I feel like my somebody is not muted. Savannah is not muted. Let me see if I can mute you. All right, let me try to share again. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on tight. The computer acting up. All right, hopefully this will work. All right, let me just go through it because I don't know why it's not. Oh, there we go. Fired doctor grovels after a foul post suggesting flood victims were Trump supporters who got what they voted for, sparked outrage. The pediatrician who claimed the Texas floods were Trump supporters who got what they voted for has issued a groveling apology after being canceled and fired. Dr. Christina B. Prouse says she is taking full responsibility for her now viral post while blaming it in part on her not knowing that so many precious lives were lost to the terrible tragedy that killed more than 100 people, including dozens of kids. I speak to you as a mother, a neighbor, a pediatrician, and a human being who is deeply sorry. The Houston-based children's doc wrote in a statement shared by KPRC. I understand my comments cause immense pain to those suffering indescribable grief, and for that, I am truly sorry. While insisting she wrote her post before knowing anyone had died, she acknowledged the words written were mine, and regardless of how they are being presented, that is a fact that I deeply regret. I want to apologize to each and every individual suffering through terrible loss in this difficult time. Blaming the backlash on her post being shared with the false impression that I made it after the devastating loss of life was known. She again conceded the comment was mine and mine alone. And so this is what Christina, may all visitors, children, non-mega voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County mega voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. That's the disgusting post she wrote. Christina sparked widespread outrage from the since deleted post posted under her old Facebook username, Christina. Many may or and I read that part to you. That part I read. Christina employer Blue Fritz Pediatrics announced she was no longer employed in a statement on Monday after she was initially suspended. We do not condone any statement that politicizes tragedy, diminishes human dignity, or fails to clearly uphold compassion for every child and family, regardless of backgrounds or beliefs, the medical provider said. Christina said in her apology that politics have never impacted her judgment or actions as a medical provider, adding that she is tirelessly committed to children's medical care and would never be so callous as to make such a remark about lives cut so terribly short. She said her harsh words came from a place of frustration amid her belief that better support is needed to prepare and respond to disasters like last weekend's floods. More than 160 people are still missing in the wake of the devastating floods, and at least 118 have died, with that number expected to rise, officials say. Whew, child. Savannah, your thoughts?
You know, this event that happened in Texas over a week ago has been devastating, not just for the families, the community, but for a nation. Just thinking about those 20 plus children that were lost. And when it's flooding, the water is always going to win, especially if they're rushing waters in the middle of the night. And then these were young children. I can understand the pediatrician's frustration. I wish that she wouldn't have politicized such a tragic event. However, the other side, every time there is a school event with a weapon, they're the first to come out and talk about, this isn't the time to speak on changing the Second Amendment. And so, and it's awful that in events like that, especially this one now, that, and in the state of Texas, which is it's red, but it is on the brink of turning purple. The Republicans in that state know that they have some work to do and are even looking at doing some underhanded gerrymandering of districts and counties so that they can cut out some seats that are highly Democratic, and they can stay in power in Texas and make more cuts to federal programs, as the Supreme Court has deemed that they can. It breaks my heart, and especially for this pediatrician who spent X amount of years studying to be a medical professional. And cancel culture, the first thing they do is cancel you out and not listen to the why. But I can understand her why, because I think a nation, whether you're on red, blue, green, purple, it doesn't really matter. I really think that the nation is on real high frustration at the moment, and we're all deep in our emotions. I wish that she would have took a pause and brought out more of the facts of the cuts that have been made to programs such as FEMA and the National Weather Service and other programs that are going to be needed, especially during hurricane season in the especially the southern area of this country. I wish you would have spoken on facts more instead of making it about a red or blue party. This is it's tragic, it's sad, and I think that it's unfortunate that it has tainted her career.
Thank you. Felicia, your thoughts?
Well, hey everybody, and I hope you all have a good
Felicia,
weekend.
are you there?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me? No?
I can hear you.
Diva, are you okay?
Yeah. Y'all can, I can hear y'all. Y'all can't. Y'all hear Felicia?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
hear you.
now. I hear you now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I think this is a very good. I think if you're following where we are in this country, and I'm talking about from the presidency on down and what's happening, you should not be making statements on social media, in my opinion, that may have an effect on what you do and how you take care of your family.
Come on, talk about it.
Whenever I'm making a decision or a choice, I'm going to bring in the factor of economics. So I understand exactly what she was saying, but it just wasn't the right time. There are just too many children who have been lost. Too many families grieving, too many families that did survive that didn't think they were going to survive. I didn't hear or read of one story that seemed to be a routine story. You know, it was just horrific what happened. And yes, we do know why those things happen. However, we didn't need to hear it from her, and she didn't need to speak on it at this time. Now, because there is a shortage of doctors in this country, I'm quite confident she'll be able to be employed someplace else. But as you often say, you know, the digital world, it doesn't get erased. It's always there. So it's going to follow her to the next place. She's going to find herself constantly apologizing or saying, you know, it wasn't appropriate at the right time, or I didn't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. So sometimes it's just best to remain silent and wait till you do know. I'm done.
I appreciate you. Very good point. Very good point. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Felicia and Savannah. Um, I understand why she said it, but I would have never printed it or put it out there on social media. I mean, you can keep your, especially having the type of job that she has, that's a pediatrician, and she said it before she knew about the death of the people or the death of the children. I get it. So I get what she's saying. I get where she's coming from, but in the line of work that she's doing, she should have never printed it or posted it. If you saying this, that's something different than somebody going back and reading it. You can say this to your family members, to the people around you, but them going back reading it and seeing that you wrote this and then you tried to write it under a different name. Come on. But I get her frustration. I really do. Because Biden offered Texas some money for the infrastructure of Kerr County. They refused it. He gave them money to get signals in. He gave them money to rebuild that dam around that campground. So I get where she's coming from. And then the administration came in and fired the people over the weather system. So I understand what she's saying and I get her frustration. But the thing about it is, you just shouldn't have wrote it out there. If that's the way you felt, you could have told it. You could have went to the bar, went to your church meetings. Y'all should have discussed it there. Don't they know every time you write something down, it never goes away? It can be up in a cloud. Somebody can pull it back down. Oh, she said this, she said that. So as y'all was saying, the right message, wrong time, and definitely shouldn't have wrote it out. So I hope she found another job, and maybe she will. And just good luck to it. But next time, just be cautious of what you're doing and how you saying it and where you putting it. You won't be in a situation. You won't be there apologizing. But that's all I got.
Thank you. Dustin, your thoughts?
I think she should have been more careful with this situation. I do feel bad for her, but I think she need to be more careful with this whole entire situation. But I hope and pray for her. I hope it gets better for her.
I appreciate you. Usually, no, I don't want to say usually. A lot of times when there's floods, there are people that lose their lives. And as a pediatrician, she of all people should know, you see some of the wildest things being in that profession. You know, as a pediatric nurse, there were things I saw that I would never believe in my wildest dreams, that these tragedies can happen. And, you know, when you're going to say, and even, you know, when I worked in a hospital, they would tell us, like, if the people come around, the press come around, you don't say nothing. You say, speak to the hospital, watch what you say, because of XYZ. And at all times, even when you're not working, you're representing the hospital as a medical professional. So how, as a doctor, and I'm saying, you know, just the nurse in context of this story, how does a doctor not have more common sense than this? I have learned a greater appreciation for the smaller things in life as a result of working in the hospital. Thank God all the time for my time there when I did work there, because, you know, I truly learned a reverse lesson of how your health is wealth and how less is more. You know, people come in the hospital and they can have all the money in the world, but when they can't save their child or their loved one, it doesn't mean nothing to them. And so she was reckless with her own career, and in the blink of an eye, she messed herself up. And I don't know how quickly, even with the shortage, she's going to get hired, because the first thing people want to say when they say Dr. Christina, you know, if she's in a group practice, how many people want to say, yeah, I want my kid to be seen by Dr. Christina? She's a risk and a liability now to whoever hires her. So good luck to her. A hard lesson learned. And maybe because, you know, with this social media, you know, 1 second, that's I'm talking. You know, maybe now with this social media, she can maybe do some online stuff that help new mothers figure out how they need to pick out a pediatrician. I don't know. She's going to have to figure it out. But did she mess up? She did. And it's a big mess up. She kept her mouth shut. Dustin, what did you want to say before I move to the next story?
I wanted to say, if I had any kids or any kind of my family, I wouldn't want my kids going to her. So that's just my opinion, David, to that.
Yeah, she got a long road ahead of her. I'm not saying she can't recover, but she got a long road ahead of her. So let me go ahead and move into this next story, which I thought was pretty sad. Young lady went to celebrate the 4th of July, went to Coney Island by herself. It was the wee hours of the morning, and the unthinkable happened to her. Let me share screen. Hopefully this will all work for us. Where am I? There we go. Let's see if it'll work.
Tonight, a woman is recalling a terrifying attack over the holiday weekend. She says she was raped on the beach at Coney Island. And she tells our Lisa Rosner onlookers took video instead of stepping in to help. We do want to warn you, the details in this story are disturbing.
I just literally remember being right here because I just remember it was in the middle of everything.
This is the spot where Malaysia Harris says she was raped on the beach in Coney Island near Stillwell Avenue around 3 a.m. in the overnight after July 4th. CBS does not generally identify sexual assault survivors, but Harris gave permission in hopes it leads to the suspect being caught.
I got off of the bus at 11 p.m., missed the fireworks. At this point, I'm making the most of my night.
She showed us footage from her time on the boardwalk and the beach, including people having a campfire. Harris says as she was walking away from the water, a man was coming towards her.
He gave me bad vibes. I really looked at him. He had a scar on his lip. I tried to run away and I fell 3 times.
She says when she tripped on this blue mat, the man forced oral sex on her.
He saw that I was on the floor, and that's when he put his face between my legs, and I started screaming, and everyone started laughing and recording me. Nobody helped. Nobody stopped. I swore if I'm wrong, if they play the video, I swore he had a book bag, and that's what made my heart beat, because I'm from Brooklyn, like a man with a book bag, and you don't know what's inside.
She says at one point, a golf cart like this one shined a light on them, but drove off. When she walked away to leave, she says he followed her down Stillwell Avenue and raped her.
He bent me over here, and he raped me. My face hit the bushes. I couldn't do anything. So it's just like, I was just really scared. And then I was like screaming for help.
Law enforcement sources confirmed there was a report of a rape at Coney Island Saturday.
Harris says there were witnesses to both attacks, and she is asking them to come forward.
I was just terrified. I couldn't fight that.
What is your message now?
This man needs to be put in jail.
She's shared her story on social media. Harris says she's in contact with the NYPD Special Victims Unit and hopes sharing this story here will help bring them more clues to catch the suspect. In Coney Island, Lisa Rosner, CBS News, New York.
If you or anyone you know is a victim of sexual assault and needs help, you can call the nonprofit RAIN, which is a 24/7 confidential hotline and resources online. That number is 1-800-656-HOPE.
Oh God, devastating. Let me share screen again. Hopefully it'll share. So let me X that out. New York City woman says onlookers laughed, recorded as she was arred on Coney Island at the July 4th fireworks. She said nobody helped. A Brooklyn woman alleged she was arred on Coney Island while celebrating the 4th of July, and bystanders just laughed and filmed instead of trying to save her. Melissa Harris, 25, told CBS News she tripped over a walking mat on the beach around 3 a.m. that night while trying to escape a man with bad vibes marching menacingly toward her. He saw that I was on the floor, and that's when he's put his face between my legs, and I started screaming, and everyone started laughing and recording me, said the Brooklyn native, who allowed herself to be identified in hopes of finding her attacker. Nobody helped. Nobody stopped. At one point, a light from a golf cart shone on her and her attacker, but the driver just drove off without intervening, said Harris, who has reported the attack to the NYPD, the Post confirmed. When she managed to free herself and leave the beach, her assailant followed her down Stillwell Avenue and arred her, she said. He bent me over here. He arred me, she told CBS, pointing toward a planter just beside some of the famed boardwalk rides. My face hit the bushes. I couldn't do anything, and I was just scared. And then I was screaming for help, Harris said. I was just terrified and I couldn't fight back, she said, saying there were also witnesses for the second part of the nightmarish ordeal. Harris says she had arrived at the boardwalk around 11 p.m. Friday after the fireworks had finished. She shared the video with CBS News showing a crowd of people standing around a bonfire before the attack. She told News 12 Brooklyn that she had been hanging out with a group of people she just met, and the assailant was one of them. After the assailants, the assault, she claims the group ran off. She says she's sharing her story in order to get the man off the streets. The NYPD did not immediately respond to the Post request for additional information. Oh, gosh. Savannah, your thoughts?
I have a lot of questions because this happened a week ago. And on Coney Island, I haven't been to Coney Island in quite some time, but it was 4th of July, and I'm pretty sure it was congested with people, even at that time at night, at 11 o'clock at night. I'm pretty sure it was many beachgoers and 4th of July festivities going on. And this culture, this generation, the first thing they do is pull out their phone and start recording, and it goes on some type of platform, whether it's Twitter or Instagram, and immediately goes up.
Well, they're not going to put something sexual up there. Would have got taken down. She was
Twitter you could do sexual stuff on there. Yeah, you can.
Around 3 a.m. in the morning. And the additional piece to this is that the man was a stranger, but she was hanging out with him and a group of other strangers, yeah, it's a loaded story, but go ahead.
So she was hanging out with him, and so she has a description of him. I mean, was there a R kit done and no DNA? Because there was 2 incidents where she was able to get his DNA. One where he put his face. So I'm assuming that she fell and he put his face in her area. So I'm assuming she had some type of summer dress on or something. And then when she was forced over the railing into the bushes. So was there any type of DNA picked up? And if she was hanging out with him, she should have had a form of description, if not of him, of the people that she was together. And they can, I just have a lot of questions on this story, Diva. It's hard to hear, but I'm, 4th of July, people are drinking. It was a Friday. It was hot. And there's a lot of holes in this story for me.
Katrina, your thoughts? Looks like Katrina's having some trouble. Felicia, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's static on your Diva. I don't hear me right, but I don't want to come on your panel like that. Okay, it's better now. Oh, these damn woods.
No, it's like that. Felicia, your thoughts?
Coney Island Beach is huge. It's massive. So you have the amusement park part, and then all the restaurants, where you get the famous Anita Franks and you get the fries and things like that. And Savannah's right. There's so many people out there. July 4th. And so if I got it right, she said she got off the train at 11, but she missed the fireworks. So honestly, I mean, I was confused right there, because it's not like you get up, like there's a wall or something. There's the sky. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're going to see the fireworks. Then she's out there hanging out with strangers. And that's where I come in with my comment. To all my young sisters in this chat, don't be out here hanging with strange people in public places and think they care about you, because they don't. They don't care about you. Yes, maybe, you figure, I want to go see the fireworks. I want to go to the concert. I want to go do so-and-so, and I'm going to go do it. No. There's predators everywhere. Everywhere. And they don't care about you. So yes, I absolutely believe that you could be on the beach with a whole bunch of people that you think, oh, where the fireworks happen, they didn't happen, what's this or what's that? And people get confused because I don't know what the term is, hanging out, sitting with, I said hello to, whatever. They make assumptions. And they can see bad things happening and they think that's a part of a routine. And this horrible thing happens to you. It's not right, and it's not fair, and it's not just. But this is what happens when you go to public spaces. You're amongst strangers, and then you want to believe that they're your friends. Shanquilla Robinson's story is never, ever going to be forgotten by me. These were people that she knew their first and last name. And she didn't come home. So you on a beach with nobody's name you know. I guess the grace here is you're still alive. Who else? She said something about a backpack. I there's a lot of things going on in this story. And I agree with Savannah. There's just too many questions that have to be answered. And, and right over there is Coney Island Hospital. Did she go to the hospital? When she found another go-kart, did she go get help? Probably not, because now she's in shock because she don't even know where she is. I think that train takes you to the last stop, and that's how you know you're at Coney Island. I know it sounds ridiculous, but people do strange things when they come to this city, and I wish these young women would just stop doing it. This is a dangerous place, and there's predators everywhere, not just here, everywhere. People are watching you when you don't even know they're watching you.
Facts.
They're monitoring your behavior when you don't even know they're monitoring your behavior. So please, watch the damn fireworks on the TV and be someplace safe. I'm done.
Whoo, Wayne, did you have a comment on this story?
Yeah. Something just don't sound right. And if she was hanging out with these people, at some point, she said that a guy was walking towards her and he had a scar on his lip. All that, you know, I mean, this don't sound like people she was hanging with, because she would have said, you know, she said he gave off a bad vibe, you know. And then I thought that was it, but then when she left, it looked like she was going through a thoroughfare, you know, at that time of night. I don't, you know, I mean, you would think, you know, with stuff going on, that people would be afraid. You know, it just, something just don't sound right about this story. That's it.
All right, y'all know I respect all y'all and I love y'all and thank y'all for your thoughts on this story. But let me tell you my thoughts on the story. When these young kids, they use the code word or the word hanging out, I was just hanging out with them. Well, let me back up a little bit before I get to that piece of it. I'll say this. She probably asked a whole bunch of friends, and this is just diva thoughts. Come hang out with me. I want to see the fireworks. Everybody said no. She decided, you know what? I'll just go ahead and go by myself. So here she is late. She's getting off the train, the bus, or whatever at 11 p.m. She said, well, the fireworks was over, which usually by then the fireworks are over. They're not going, the fireworks on the 4th of July, it's not going through midnight and all that. So she said the fireworks was over, but she got out, she was hanging out. So of course she's by herself. She's just, meeting random people. And when they say hanging out, I'm thinking they was drinking, they was doing whatever the case may be. They was having fun. She thought she met some new cool people, and it was a group of people. So within the group, just like it's all of us here, we don't know each other. I'm thinking I saw Wayne, I see this guy, but I'm really chilling more with Felicia and Savannah. But I did see Wayne was in this group. We're passing the alcohol, whatever else we passing, we just having fun. We all out here, it's the 4th of July, having fun, and we, doing whatever we do. They got a bonfire over there, whatever. She decides it's time for her to go. Because at this point, it was 3 a.m. in the morning. And I believe that patrol that drove by initially, they're used to people doing wild stuff on the beach, and so they just let them go. But unfortunately, this wasn't something wild between a couple. This was a young lady getting violated. So on the boardwalk or on the sand part or whatever, because sand is hard to walk in. So it seems as if they got this blue mat sort of piece so that you can walk a little easier versus trying to walk in the sand, maybe when you're trying to go or you just want to walk easier. She started running on that. She tripped. She fell. He's behind her. He's trailing her because she left the group. Then she noticed out the corner of her eye, this one is following her with the backpack. And she like, all right, I might have, while she was in the group, she probably was feeling he a little creepy anyway. But she decides she's going to leave. She leaves. Next thing you know, he following her. She's probably leaving out pieces of the story because she don't want to ask she was drinking. She probably don't want to ask she was a little tipsy or whatever the case may be. Because what happens is, and we said it many a times, that unfortunately, when you are a victim and you speak up, is more questions for you instead of everybody just believing what happened to you. So now she's walking, she's running, she tripped. And I'm assuming these are diva thoughts. Remember, y'all, she probably had on something little. She falls. He gets down and he in between her legs. And I'm betting some of the people that was filming and didn't help her were part of that initial group she was hanging out with. So instead of anybody helping her, they laughing, they filming, and it's a kiki na ha ha. The patrol thing walked by thinking, oh, that's a couple, it's 3 a.m., whatever, let them do what they do. She manages to get up from that violation, only to keep going, because now she's probably scared, embarrassed, she's feeling ashamed, she don't know what to do. So she gets up, she walking, he follows her, then he bends her over and finishes her off. The credit I'm giving to this girl's a lot, but the more high credit I'm giving is she went to the police in real time. This man is disgusting. I will also say this. I'm not ever one, but this is just me, and you got to think too. Diva was not a partier even when I was growing up younger. It just wasn't who I was. But that don't stop me from saying that people, if that's what you like to do, you shouldn't be out there. But if you want to be out there, you got to be careful. Girls, y'all need to hang together. I leave, you leave. I move, you move, just like that. When the party's over, we got to go. And where I go with now with my friends, I'm the designated driver. I don't mind being the designated driver, but I tell them all, y'all know I ain't got a child. I'm like Cinderella. When the clock hit at midnight or something, I got to go. So if y'all want me to be the designated driver, I can, but I got a time limit. And I got to go. So this poor young lady was violated and they filmed her, and probably now nobody's giving up the film because they know the guy with the backpack. But God bless her for speaking out. I hope she gets some counseling. And unfortunately, I hope she learned, don't be going nowhere in the dark. It's already dark. Now, even when I was of a certain age, I was going out. At a certain time, I must be like, you ain't going nowhere this time. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? She went somewhere and got there at 11 p.m. by herself. It's not good. And I know increased matters. You said, wow, a group of strangers in New York at 3 a.m. These kids now, they don't think nothing of nothing. Sometimes I want to shake some of them. They think everybody's okay. They like Pollyanna. That just all is good, all is well. I'm going to move on to the next story. I'm praying for this girl. I wish her well. And I hope they find the person that did this to her. I'm going to move on to the next story. But that whole night, this is just the Diva thought and believed. That whole night, he was eyeing her. He was looking at her, and he wanted her from the minute he saw her. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the last story. The last story is Armon Wiggins. He was one of the people, boots on the ground, first out there for that, Diddy trial. When the verdict came out, he did what he did, and he has since apologized for what he did. Let me go ahead and share screen. I think this is it. So Armon Wiggins, Diddy baby oil stunt went too far. Linnell, she's a comedian, even said so. She hates that man, meaning she hates Diddy. Let's take a listen.
You went last week when the verdict was read for Diddy.
Am I ever going to slide out of this?
Right, literally. So we got to ask you, what exactly happened that day, just to give people some clarity. What exactly happened?
In short, the short story is, it was outside. I want to do like a little baby oil thing because that was a part of the thing with my audience. We would always do like a more oil. That was a part of the shtick that I would do.
And where did you get that from? Did that come from the actual trial?
Well, that actually came from the trial where Cassie would explain that Diddy would, require more oil on the escorts, And so when I was reading out like some of Cassie's testimony, what actually ended up happening is my people thought that was so funny. Like some of the viewers that were watching thought it was hilarious. And so that's what happened. I believe that there was good and bad to it. Negatively, like, of course, you look like the guy that was celebrating a bunch of negative things. And, you know, a lot of people felt hurt and triggered by that. So, of course, it affected it negatively because now, you know, we go down in history for, you know, this YouTuber that didn't take it serious. He was sitting outside of the courtroom yelling more oil when he was supposed to be at a federal trial, and it was such a sensitive situation. So of course it affected that, because there's some people that know no matter what I do, I'm never going to be able to change their mind or their perception of me and new media, in a sense. People did DM me. People were like, what's going on? But, you know, I got to shout out to my auntie Lunel. I love Lunel.
Lunel reached out to you.
Yeah, Lunel has been a supporter of mine for a long time. She told me it looked crazy as hell. She definitely did tell me that, but she said she's been watching me for so long, so she understood it, right? And so she just kind of gave me a pep talk and supported me, but she also told me it looked crazy, you know? And
right.
you know where Lunel stands with the whole situation. She's not a Diddy supporter in any way, but I was appreciative because, you know, I know where she stands, and she didn't take it personal. I think if you know what you know, like if you do enough research, you know that it wasn't malicious. You know, I think a lot of times, not to discredit it, but people just jumped on it because it was a viral headline. Like, but after a little bit, people were kind of like, okay, we get it now. Like, it wasn't like that. I want to be done. I want to be oiled out. The baby oil is gone. We're over it. We're moving on to the next thing. I'm oiled out. You guys got it. I learned a big lesson from it, because at the end of the day, accountability is key, whether I meant it or it was my intention or not. It did affect people, because I can't assume that everyone knows me and everyone's watching me, because they're not.
So that was his apology. Like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna say apology, but him explaining what happened or why he did what he did. So Armon Wiggins, the man who slipped into the public eye outside Diddy's trial by pouring baby oil over his body when the verdict was read, is having regrets now that his viral joke angers so many people on both sides of the case. TMZ Hip Hop caught up with Armon, a popular social media personality, about his recent oil spill that matted and ruffled the feathers of many. If you didn't see it, here is a piece. Let's take a look.
I told y'all this to get it. We gonna give it. Yes!
Armon explains he had an ongoing running gag during the trial where he clamored for more oil, a demand we discovered Diddy bowled at his escorts during freak-offs with Cassie and Jane Doe. So the prank was fully realized the day Diddy was found not guilty on the most serious trafficking and racketeering charges, and Armon thought he was partaking in harmless fun before being doused with backlash. The baby oil was determined to be inconsequential to any crimes during the trial, but Armon maintains it wasn't his intention to trigger any actual victims or make a mockery of the child. This is what Lunel wrote, and he said Lunel called him and spoke to him personally. So, ladies, we're dead in the water. People are cheering for this nasty man. Nobody, and I mean nobody, cares about what men do to women. It's sad AF to me. All his enablers and helpers, they just get to skip away scot-free. Hurry, run, and get your baby oil and let the freak offs begin again. Linnell was one of the first. Hold on one second, guys. Linnell was one of the first celebs to speak out against Diddy when he was initially arrested, and Armon says she dialed him up to give him an earful. He doesn't want cut hijinks out of his act, but consider the baby oil stick all dried up. Oh, I know that was a lot. Savannah, your thoughts?
You know, I watched Armon during most of this trial, and I saw that moment as it actually was happening. There was a lot of people around this courthouse day and night for 7-8 weeks. And most of these people were just looking for a viral moment or how they can interject themselves into this story. Unfortunately, Armon fell to one of the antics and tacks, because that man in the blue jacket was also out there running around or peddling lube, and then the woman that exposed herself as well. I think that's where the problem, the incident just heightened to be a even more problem. So this is about the second or third, and I don't want to say excuse, but Armon trying to explain this, his actions during this event. I think that Armon really needs to change how he reports on certain stories, because we all anticipate that Tyler Perry is going to be the next down the line, and that one's going to even be more explosive than this Diddy one. I think it was insensitive to the family, to the real victims that are out there, and I couldn't understand why he did that. I really could. You can't be that swept up into the outcome of the verdict to expose yourself in such behavior. So it's unfortunate. I don't watch him on a regular, but I did watch his commentary on the trial. And Armon has a lot of growing up to do, I think, still. So,
yeah, thank you, Savannah. Felicia, your thoughts?
I'm gonna speak my heart here. My heart.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that no matter what Black people do, the media got a problem. I watched Armon's commentary for at least 6 weeks, and he did use the baby oil in his commentary, and it was quite entertaining, very funny to me. The prosecution used the baby oil repeatedly in the case. They asked Miss Ventura, was there anything in the baby oil, any kind of drug or something in there? And she said no, that Mr. Combs liked to use baby oil. Then we learned a couple of weeks in, he liked to use it so much that he would mess up the properties. They would have to go deep clean the properties afterwards. So we're outside. It was hot as I don't know what out there. We get one thing on Tuesday, another thing on Wednesday, and then the folks outside respond in a non-violent, there was no pow-powing, no fighting, no nothing. And we got a major problem with that too. It's so frustrating being Black sometimes in this country. I don't care what we do. Somebody's unhappy. Somebody got issue. For 7.5 weeks, folks gathered, got on the line, did what they had to do, were quiet as church mice in the courtroom, a little bit more talkative in the overflow room as I understand it, but they got it and they did me a favor. I thank them for being in the 90-degree heat, all the rain, and bringing out what was going on in there. And if all they had was it was only a handful of them, had a baby oil gathering outside, I'm okay with it. I'm done.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, if I cared anything about the victims, Kathy or whatever, maybe I would care a rat's ass about what Armon got to say. If I was so concerned about Armon and I looked up to him, maybe I could care about what he said. This man is just a YouTuber. He did something he thought that was funny. I don't think he's going to lose no followers. If people took it the wrong way or felt the wrong, that's your issue. It's not his. He did, become accountable for what he said. Maybe he'll do things different, but that's your issue. If you thought what he did, the way if you want to call it a celebration, whatever, that's just too bad. It's more things that's going on than to be worried about Armon Wiggins putting oil on him. His audience liked it. When his show came on, he would get oiled up. Is everybody oiled up? So he thought it was funny. If it was a mistake, he'll move on. That's it.
Thank you, Wayne. Mel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was watching the trial coverage for these past couple of weeks too, the replay. And I have to admit, it was mostly the live streamers who were outside that I was fascinated with. It was just people of all walks of life just out there. They couldn't really make it to the courtroom for whatever reason. So they were stuck outside and they were live streaming for hours and hours and hours. And you can go to lunch, you go on your train, you come home and the people be outside, and sometimes the YouTubers come out there and you would see it. But when you watch the live streamers, you saw a lot of stuff going on. People fussing and fighting and throwing chairs and bricks and all type of stuff. Just a lot of things going on. It was a lot more than just baby or party or whatever. It was a lot going on down there. And so I feel like the atmosphere of outside the courthouse, which I feel like the courthouse themselves should have really kind of reined it in, because it's been going on for a lot of weeks. A lot of chaos has been going on down there, and they just not really done a good job, in my opinion. The federal courthouse, they didn't really do a good job in protecting people and really making it less stressful for people to really get in there and do work with stuff like that. But it's been very chaotic. So it just felt like the atmosphere was down there, and I think Armon got caught up in that at the last day. He kind of stayed away from it for a long time. Somebody heckled him a couple of weeks ago. Some random woman came out of nowhere, and that was his own thing, and he just been very safe. I was surprised. I was surprised that it got legs, because when you look at his channel and you see the you see his shows that he was doing very well with his numbers and 200,000, 300, whatever it was. He was doing well. He should have gotten 200 or 300,000 viewers. So I knew it was serious when his last video, that, you know, everybody concluded the trial. This is the verdict day. This is the conclusion of all the work you've done. He only got 150,000 views on his last video, which was not his lowest, but it was kind of mid-level. So that showed that people were turned off by that action, which was like, wow, that was the only indication I had. It wasn't really the as Felicia was saying, the white media or the legacy media or the people who Armon and other people have complained about the media being elitist and judgmental and not really inclusive and being microaggressive to some of the YouTubers. So I wasn't really shocked by them sort of, carrying that story and doing whatever they want with it just to sort of embarrass somebody. But it was actually the audience, his own audience, somehow wasn't connecting to his content that these past couple of days. You know, it just was not, the viewership has not been as strong as it's been during the trial. So, but do I think he's going to go down? No, I think that he has a pattern of Fox Soul and of other collaborations where he does very, very well, and then something happens out of his control, and then he goes away for a little bit, and he bounces back bigger than ever. So this is a part of his pattern. I would say, like I said, I went down there one time in May, and I was surprised how friendly he was. Because I wasn't asking nobody for no autographs, no last names, none of that. I just was like, oh, I enjoy your show, and he was, talking about. And I went on to talk to. He was a very nice person when I met him that one time. So yeah, I think he's gonna do well. And I'm just surprised that his own audience, they didn't show up his last show. His last live stream. They felt like Lunel felt like that they just felt uncomfortable, and that's okay. People feel uncomfortable, but I'm sure they'll be back. They'll be back when he covers his rap divas and everybody else that he does his own thing. Like Felicia, I watch his channel every day, but they'll be back. I just think that people were just so invested in this case, and they had very, very strong views that even if they loved your content, if you misstep, they was going to take a break from you for a couple of days. It's just kind of what it is. But I don't think people unsubscribe, and I think he'll be okay.
Right. So even he himself said, okay, it was a misstep, right? So here's my thought on it. I guess I'm a step out and be on the train solo with this one, and it's okay. So I'll be solo with this one. I think it was a misstep. I think that you have to read the room. I think if he would have did that same stunt in his house, like when he went back and always, covered the trial at home, and he did his reenactments and, was slamming the doors and saying this and saying more oil. I think it would have went down better if he did it in the house by himself when he was reenacting the day of the verdict. I don't think, knowing he himself knows better than us, because he was actually out there, how polarizing the people were out there, and how it became a competition amongst the different, people reporting out there. It became a competition with them. It also became, because I know somebody that was out there, it also became, whose side are you on silently? Are you team Diddy? Are you team prosecution? So it was a lot going on out there in them streets. And if you was physically out there being a creator, whatever, and like I said over here, I'm here for let people do what they do. Even when I saw the last day, when I saw the footage of people being in Tisa Tell face, I'm not here to judge nobody content, but I said what I felt was right. Let her live. I don't know. How can you say Diddy was wrong, but then you in agreement with people being in a female face? People are all over the place with their feelings, and they don't even know how to make sense when they need to make sense. You're trashing people, saying Diddy is a monster, but then you're okay with men being in her face. Like, I don't understand how that even made sense to people. So with this Armon thing, what happened was he should have known that this was going to create a whole big group of people. He knew about that woman with that blue wig way before we did. So here she is, and she was always waiting for an opportunity to just go viral. What she did, and he ended up walking away. And he said that on his own channel, that he ended up walking away because he didn't even want it to be all of that. He was thinking his own personal content, and he was helping the guy out with the blue jacket. He said, I said I was going to do something for his channel, so I just took it as a moment. It was a moment that went wrong, came out of Armon's mouth himself. He said it just went wrong. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I intended. That woman went crazy and lost her mind. And people connecting this baby oil and not caring for what happened to women, I think people are just so all over the place with that. A juror out of his own mouth said that those videos that they saw in the courtroom were pretty tame. What the prosecution did, because they had no evidence, they wanted to keep flooding the social media with these things that Diddy is a monster. So even when they did a compilation of several freak-off tapes, put them together to make it 11 minutes to show this jury. And all they showed them was sex, people having sex. And Cassie herself, because then you had people doing lies in their lawsuit when they dashed the baby or he dashed baby oil on me, and then I was passed out. And I told y'all, if they dash baby oil all over the people, and then I'm getting on top of that person, if it was so much drugs in there, wouldn't I be just as dazed as them? So they did all of this, and Cassie sat there herself and said nothing was in the baby oil. But I also told y'all nothing was in the baby oil, because you don't think they would have tested them 1,000 bottles and they would have let us know that all of these drugs was in the baby oil? So now you got people saying, oh, because it's the baby oil and you playing around with this, you don't care about victims. No, we care about victims, but I also have to say this, victims got to care about themselves too, if you truly are a victim. And I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can. You know, they say there's this saying that says, you do it to me once, shame on you. You do it to me twice, shame on me. At what point should a victim say, okay, I got to roll out. I need to roll out. Like, I can't do this no more. Keisha, I'll bring you up, but do you want to put your camera, turn your camera off? There you go.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and I totally been with you from the beginning. Like, I'm happy what happened with the verdict, but one thing I wanted to come on and say, since you've been doing everything, I just haven't come on daily. But I'm really so pissed off that Cassie even went up and testified and all those other victims testified, because literally it just made it worse for the rest of the women. Because it's good for Diddy. I'm very happy, because he shouldn't go to jail for something he didn't do. But now the industry is going to be totally different. Like, as far as women in the music industry and in the entertainment industry, like we talked about the other day, you said with drugs and alcohol. Now I feel like after this situation has happened, it's going to be like, if women say anything, they're not going to be believed because of what she did. And I believe she should have just kept her mouth shut, because it's going to make it very, very difficult. We're not going to be believed. We're not going to be treated fairly. I think it's just going to make it super worse. And I don't know if you feel that same way, but because we haven't really talked about that. But I feel like that's just horrible, something that needs to be mentioned. And I don't know what can be done about it to protect women in the music industry or just in general.
I think, thank you, Keisha, for your thoughts. I think, honestly, if people perhaps can speak up more in real time, change can happen. And I think that may be the catalyst that starts to turn things around. Here you have with the Tyler Perry, and I'm referencing this because it's like one of the newest cases out there. He's not too far off from the time frame in which it happened. And I think that even on the lowest offense, even when you're at a job, nobody wants to believe you, right? And these jobs have that, they claim that no zero tolerance for retaliation, but people know that retaliation, unfortunately, it happens all the time. The best I could say to people, you know, even when there's a product, You know, I had this product one time and I called and I was like, this is not working. It's defective, whatever. And they was talking about, well, we ain't hear that from nobody else. I'm like, but you hearing it from me. And maybe I'm the first one. But later on down the line, as they got more calls and they ended up switching my thing out because I'm relentless. But it's a shame. But I'm just saying that to tell you how, because I was the first one to call. So they say, you know, they was like, well, we haven't heard that before, this, that, and that, and the other. And, you know, we could come fix it. I said, you don't fix new, you exchange new. Okay. The thing was brand new. I'm like, I don't send nobody here to fix brand new. Y'all going to replace it because I literally just got it. But it was a fight. It was a big fight. So I have to say to people, like, don't give up. Don't give up. Put out the good fight, and you have got to use your voice and speak up. But a lot of times, you know, when people stay in situations, it's something that's benefiting them as to why they perhaps are staying in that situation. And that is the best thing for me to keep repeating to people is that, you know, there's no shame in not having things with labels on it, or you got the biggest house on the block, or you're driving a Benz or a Range Rover, or the big thing now, like the people, they love the Rolls Royce. It's like you're driving all that, but your soul is empty. And you're going back to being beat up and beat down. And then you cover your face with the makeup and you back out on the streets, you know, it's just crazy. So if it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice to save your own soul? My sacrifice is I will be in a studio apartment with zero furniture. Zero furniture.
Diva, can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
And I think that's why I resonate with you so much. And I just come every time. And I never shared this, and I feel comfortable sharing this with you. But I've been in kind of an abusive situation, not with a boyfriend. And I think we haven't really visited this because people don't talk about if you were in an abusive situation with a parent. And so that was kind of my situation. My father was abusive with my parent, well, with my mom and his wife. But then in the end, he did it with me, which is kind of similar, which we think maybe Diddy never did it to his kids, but we never know. You know, you never know what might have happened. And when I saw Cassie's situation, I thought, you know, what you say all the time. And when it got to me, my dad, after it was over, he tried to pray like it didn't even happen. And then when I went to college, he tried to buy me a car. And you know what? Just like you, I said, I don't want the car. I'll walk. And I turned it away. And that hurt him more than me taking the car. So I can't buy Cassie's story, because if you want to be independent, you will. I graduated college, my own car, bought my BMW by myself, lived by myself, and I turned it away. So you know what? That made me feel even better. So I can't even go with her, but I just feel bad because now it's going to be worse for the women ahead of her.
I appreciate you for sharing, Keisha, and I appreciate you for supporting me and being here. It's, you know what? If I could get the specialist to come up here, maybe I'll do a story on this, because I think the hardest thing for people to do is to walk away when the parent is abusive, because those are the first people that's supposed to truly love you. And I would love to do a panel on that, but let me see if I could pull together the right professionals, so that that's a situation where I don't want it to just be Diva thoughts. I need some professionals on the panel to kind of speak on that. But thank you for sharing. Sorry that happened to you. But yeah, I will, you know, I saw like there's a lot of things on Instagram my friends send me, and one of the cutest things they sent me is now like these people speak to like older people on the streets and just ask them like their advice and stuff like that. And the woman said, you know, I'll date 20 men before I let forgive one man 20 times to keep doing the same thing over and over to me. And I thought it was just the cutest little you know, thing. If I could find it, I'm gonna show it to y'all. But it's a lot, and it's sad. But I think that honestly, we as women, we can still win in this thing. We can still speak up. But see, nobody wants to talk about them speaking up. All they want to connect with are these people are, the women are victims who were helpless and couldn't do anything. And you're like, yeah, we can do something. And just because we say people can do something, that doesn't mean at the same time we're saying that, you know, we're victim shaming. This whole thing with the victim shaming now is so out of control. I swear to goodness, it's just messy. Anybody else want to say anything before I move close out?
Yeah, I was going to say that back to the Armon thing. I was going to say that what you said about that woman, that she was part of the chaos too in front of the courthouse a couple of times. I remember it was actually, I think it was making make sense who told me who she was, because I remember I thought she was like a homeless woman. I said, oh no, she's just, you know, she's a YouTube person or whatever. I said, oh, but she's always using her body as a form of expression or clout or whatever it is. So you know, I think Armon kind of got hip to it. That's why he was running for the hills, and yeah, it was a good show. It was a good show. I was going to say what you just said just there. I think that, you know, and I know it goes into the new age, but, you know, our intuition, men or women, it's a very powerful thing. And, you know, when you meet people at your work, at your school, or in your personal life, if you feel like somebody is off and something is too difficult, you know, it doesn't have to be abusive and all that trauma, but it can just be like, this is not a fit. That's a really good start to protecting yourself, all of us, protecting yourself from going down the road that will lead to a place that you might feel vulnerable or taken advantage of. If your intuition, if you listen to yourself and you see other people also, those are really good starting points for people to, you know, because sometimes I remember I was on a show years ago and a lady was up there and just happened to be there. And she's talking about her ex-husband. I don't think he was abusive, but she was talking about her ex-husband. And she was saying, I'm afraid of, you know, meeting new people. I'm afraid. I said, I've dated people too, you know, and my thing is I want you to list all the things that you found out afterwards, but the cheating and all, just list all the things that you felt was terrible about this person that you just in hindsight said, well, how did I miss this stuff? Now, when you meet new people, if that stuff pops up, if any of those little signs pop up, that does not mean that you want to get into a full-fledged new marriage with this person. That means that you want to go the other direction. And she's like, oh yeah. I say, yeah. So so sometimes when you have these bad relationships, and I'm not talking about trauma. Trauma is needed for professionals like therapists and prayer and other things. But if you have a bad relationship and you get out of it okay, and now you're doing things and you see people doing the same thing again, go to the different direction. Go in a different direction. Intuition is a big thing. And also, I was going to say, I didn't talk about this lady who got attacked, and it was very sad that she got attacked in Coney Island. My mother, you know, raised me here in New York City, and she was a single mom. I talk about her a lot. And she used to go around with a weapon, you know, not no pow, but she had a little something in her pocket. She had spray, she had all this kind of stuff. This is in the 80s, Diva. This is when people think about the 40 Patch of the Bronx, that crazy movie, you know, you don't know what's going on in trains. My mother said that because she was a lady and she was a woman out there working by herself, you know, take care of us boys, that she, at a certain point in New York City, she stopped using train. You know, it doesn't matter how much money it was for the cab, wherever she was at, if it was school, if it was a job, it was her family's house, or she was helping her grandmama, she would take the cab from that location to her house. So it was always at nighttime. At a certain point, in my family with the women, at a certain point, they just stopped using public transportation at a certain level. It doesn't matter how much you charge your credit card, how much you charge your Uber. As long as you're safe and you're home and you're in a place, we are worried about the bills later. Just make sure that you get into a safe transportation, that you let people know on the phone that where you're at, that you're on the car. You can talk to your family members in the car, because sometimes people in the car get crazy too who drive, and you can video. Like, there's certain things that can be done. And again, there's no blame, because some people, they just are trusting, and sometimes things happen, and sometimes you can be really skilled at protecting yourself, and a person can be even skilled at being a predator. That exists too. But if you know, in my family, people just didn't take the transportation, and no blame to it. They just didn't take the transportation at night times. They just didn't. They just took the cab, and they didn't care how much it cost.
Thank you for that advice, Mel. Let me just show something, y'all. This is what I want to close out with. I thought it was so freaking cute. I'm in love with it. So I'm going to show y'all, and we'll close out.
There's no such thing as a gold digger. All women are expensive, so pick one in your price range and shut the fuck up.
What do you bring to the table in a relationship?
The fuck do I look like? A waiter? Next question.
What's your best dating advice?
It's better to give 20 guys a chance than 20 chances to the same guy. You're a player, not a fool.
What's your philosophy on love versus money?
I think it's better to cry in a Lamborghini than cry in a Honda Civic. Yeah. All men will disappoint you, so choose the richest one.
How old was your husband when you married him?
I was 25 and he was 75. Thanks to him, I haven't had to work for over 50 years.
Granny, how are you so wise?
Oh, sweetie, let's be so for real. I just followed Joey on the street.
What's your body count?
Honey, I've lost count since 1975. Oh. I'm enjoying life, not collecting data.
What's your take on men who bring you flowers?
Flowers die, honey. My Chanel bag is forever. Know the difference.
What dating advice would you tell your younger self?
Don't try to change a man. Change the man instead.
What are your thoughts on gold diggers?
I just thought that was super cute. I fell in love with it. Listen, guys, you know, so I used to try to end with my feel-good stories, but I told y'all with the few feel-good stories, I've been getting a little ding on that, but I just thought that was something cute. It had me cracking up. I laughed. Listen, guys, y'all know the routine.
Diva, can I say one thing? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I want to say one thing to not just the ladies, but the ladies and anybody that's been in a situation, an abuser, or like Cassie. Remember, don't be attracted to the money, the cars, whatever the fancy stuff. Get away. Remember, if you walk away and you do it yourself, you tell them no and you do it yourself, you have more power over them. And once you have more power over them, you won, and they hate that. So you want the power. Remember that. That's all I want to say, Diva.
No, I like that. Thanks for adding that to the story. Listen, guys, y'all know the routine. If you ain't hit that like button on the way in, don't cheat the Diva. Hit it on the way out. Thank y'all for spending this Friday night with me. Good night and goodbye, everybody.
Good night.
Choo, choo, choo.